So I have these old bicycle gears.
Perfect. Nice. Then got the little guy back together again. Size his chain for the smaller gear and see if it works. And that's working nice. Welcome back everyone to another video. So as promised, today we are going to work on Wally's mobility and also be giving him a few upgrades. In the last video, we saw Wall-E not being able to turn or move up at the incline as his wheels would slip around the rope as soon as they met any sort of resistance. So my idea is to put a gear on his drive wheel and a smaller gear on his rear wheel and wrap a chain around that, which should prevent slipping. To make it all possible, I'm going to use the parts of this old bicycle that is just laying around. First, I'm going to soak these rusty old chains in some vinegar and we'll get back to that later. Then, I traced out the inner and outer dimensions of this 2.5 kg weighted plate and jigged it out. And repeated this step 3 more times. Then, marked out the center using the handle and drilled a hole through it. After that, I cut out a smaller wheel, sanded it off a bit, and glued it in the center of the 2 larger wheels, while also using this drill bit to keep everything centered. I clamped it down and let them both dry. And I'm not sure what these things are, but I drilled a few holes in them. Not the best, but I can work with that. Glued and screwed them to the wheel. Added a bit of glue over the shaft and placed this little gear over it. Nice. Then started to remove his rear wheel and his drive wheel. Got the new wheel on and I saw it could use a bit more clearance for the screw to fit, so I used a spade bit to drill out some more room and got it back together again. Perfect. I then removed the front wheel, look at that tiny little thing, and moved the old ones to the front because it would just look better this way. And for some reason his wheel frames looked a bit longer than usual, so I took them apart to cut them a bit shorter. How you doing? I placed the wheel about where I wanted it to go, marked the center out, drilled a hole, and used the wheel to help me draw out the bit I want to cut away. Then I got the screw through, a washer and a nut. And finally the wheel. Looks like we need a bit more clearance. Much better. I then repeated all the steps on the next wheel frame. Nice. Then got the little guy back together again. And those new wheels are looking really good on him. He looks like a proper little Wall-E now.
So I have these old bicycle gears and I'm going to take them apart and fix these gears to the drive wheel.
I placed the gear socket in the center, clamped it down and persuaded it to open. I'm gonna use this big one. And I wasn't able to get the other one loose, but I did manage to find the same gear somewhere else. I put a few holes on the sides of each of them. Look at that. And taped it up so that I could determine the center. I then drilled out a wooden wheel, cut it in half and stick it to the gear. And screwed it down. I think that's about as good as I am going to get it. Looks like we have some uninvited guests. Where did you guys come from? Alright, back to work. So now we have to fix this drive gear to this little wheel. It's gonna go something like this. Just gonna glue and screw that on. I kinda went overboard with the glue on the first one, but luckily the camera wasn't recording. Then I drilled out some clearance for the screw to fit. That's much better. Then I got the chains out that I've been soaking in this vinegar for a few days, scrubbed it down, rinsed the dirt off, and gave them an oil bath, and then hung them out to dry. It was sort of getting warm outside, so I gave him a hat to wear. I then measured the amount of chain length I was going to need. It needs to be about that long. Resized it and fitted it to our little robot. I tightened down the drive wheel to run a few tests, which gave me consistent results of the chain falling off. I thought this was due to the fact of the chain being loose, so I placed a bearing against the chain to give it a little bit more tension, which did work for a little bit, then fell off again. So I swiped out the larger gear with the smaller one because there was less room for the chain to slip off from. So I'm kinda hoping this will keep the chain on the gear. All that's left is to resize his chain for the smaller gear and see if it works. It is definitely keeping the chain on, but the chain is still a little bit loose. So I added this little wheel next to it to keep it under tension, and that's working nice. Now we just have to go test it. So here's the situation. His gear system is working just fine, however, his batteries are barely strong enough to move him at all, making this incline impossible. I gave him a hand to get him all the way up. Really embarrassing, I'm not gonna lie. So here on level ground, I tried to turn him in a full revolution. I faced him forward so that we can see a little better.
Oh nice, looks like he's turning.
A quarter of a revolution at least. I then tried going over this ditch and managed to get stuck. Super embarrassing.
Okay, so far I think it's pretty clear. He's not able to turn properly. And he's not able to go uphill. But let's try downhill instead.
And unsurprisingly, going downhill was much better. He even managed to do a full revolution. And also popped a wheelie. And everything was going great till his battery pack fell out. And again, at which point I taped it down. And after that last little accident, Wally was moving more slowly than usual, so I think I'm gonna call this a day.
So Wally's batteries is getting a bit low, and I don't want to drive him anymore because I'm scared I'm going to break him. He's already starting falling apart. But tune in next week, I will be giving him some more upgrades and hopefully find a better battery pack. Until next time.